This video is a part 7 of a series I'm making about my last trip to Asia. If you want to see part 6, click on the link in the description down below. Hey, it's me, Julie, and I'm bringing you guys part 7 of my travel series. In this part, we visit the Pokemon Cafe, the Tokyo Tower, as well as some other places we already had visited before. This was our last stay in Tokyo, so I hope you enjoy! As you can see, we started off finally visiting the hotel's rooftop, and to say the least, the view was pretty amazing. And after that brief beach tour, we headed down, ready for our journey for the day. While we get there, here I'm already setting up my journal entry for the day with the weather forecast. But contrary to what it said, on this morning it was particularly very sunny, which made us really happy since this was our last day in the city. And since this was our last day, a lot of the activities we did were on our must-sees before we left list or our last-minute buys for friends and family members. First place we're heading to is the Imperial Palace East Gardens in the Chiyoda district, and to get there we needed to take the subway, so that's where we're going. We first took the Ginza line from Ueno to Nihonbashi to get to the Tozai line, which took us approximately 10 minutes or so. Then from there we had to transfer lines in order to get to the Takebashi station, the nearest stop to the Imperial Palace entrance. And while we get there, on my journal I'm just writing my usual setup with the time I woke up and went to sleep on that day, but I'm also writing on top that this was our last day in Tokyo. But back on our journey, this was when we had finally arrived to the nearest entrance to the Imperial Palace Gardens. As we arrived, there was a group making sketches of the scenery, so we decided to stop by to check what they were looking at and also to have a first look of the place. After that quick stop, we were off to the Imperial Palace. However, once we got there, they were actually closed. What happened was, when planning, we were oblivious to the fact that the gardens are closed on Mondays, and guess what day we decided to visit? If you couldn't guess, it was a Monday. At that moment, we were bummed we couldn't go in, and we were left feeling pretty disappointed! But continuing on, we kept walking, circling the outer edge of the palace's compound to compensate the fact that we couldn't go in and at least experience the aesthetics of the palace from the outside. Back on my journal, I decided to add this map of the region where the Imperial Palace resides on, just so I can get an idea of where it is located on the map. I am also putting down this picture of an impressionistic painting that I found on a Japanese travel magazine. And I know it is a Monet and it has nothing to do with the building itself, but I felt like it looked like the moat surrounding the castle, that's why I decided to include it in. Then we were off to our next stop, which was the Pokemon Cafe. Now, our plan before was to take a subway ride there, which takes us about 10 minutes to get there, but since we had a lot of time to kill until the reservation we made there, we decided to go walking towards our destination instead. That meant it was going to take a little less than 25 minutes on this scenic route. Also around this time that the weather started to change, becoming very windy quite quickly. But even though it was getting colder and colder, there were still some spots of sunshine here and there on our way to the Pokemon Center. I guess this region we were passing through was not very touristy and more of a business and financial district because most of the people were wearing suits or business attires and we were left feeling a bit out of place. Anyways, here we were reaching the entrance of the Pokemon Cafe, and I must say if we didn't know where this place was, it would have gone unnoticed because the lobby is rather modest looking from the outside in. Here's the first look we had, and as you can see, we went straight to the restaurant to make sure we wouldn't miss our reservations. And if you're not familiar with this place, it is just as it sounds like. It's a restaurant and cafe with all things Pokemon, from the decorations to the foods and drinks, all Pokemon themed. They also gave us Pikachu paper hats to wear, and let me just say, I feel like these hats are made for kids because I definitely had a tough time putting it on, but eventually I got it right. All the foods and drinks had Pokemon characters in them, whether that being as side decorations or on the food itself. I don't remember what everyone got, but I ordered the Japanese curry and it tasted amazing. Probably my favorite meal. And while we finish up, here I'm just adding where we had our last lunch in Tokyo. After finishing our meal, we met a very special guest, the chef himself. If you're thinking about coming here, I definitely recommend making reservations months prior to traveling because this place runs on booking arrangements only and it is very busy. Next, we decided to visit a shop in the Pokemon Center, and this place had everything Pokemon related. From stationery items, washi tape, to the biggest collection of Pokemon plushies I ever saw in my entire life. But the most surprising product of all was skincare. Face masks made in Japan. After a little shopping spree, on my journal I'm now writing the places we have gone to at this point, which are the Imperial Palace, even though it was closed, and now the Pokemon Center. As you can see, this was when the weather was getting very unpleasant. It was windy and cloudy, and on top of that, it was drizzling, which made it extra cold. But all that put aside, our next stop is the Zojoji Temple and the Tokyo Tower since they're really close to one another. Fortunately, this route required no transfers, and after a little less than half an hour, we had arrived at the nearest station to the temple. By this time, the rain had basically stopped. It was still cold, but it was a lot more pleasant now. And on our way to the temple, we actually found a Starbucks, and just like on yesterday's vlog, we decided to stop by and grab another green tea frappuccino because it was just really good. And within a few minutes, we had arrived at the Zojoji Temple. Now, I gotta be honest here, there wasn't much we did aside from taking pictures in front of the main temple, but this place is massive and worth checking out if you're interested in seeing the more traditional and religious side of the city. After we felt like we were done, we were leaving towards the Tokyo Tower. And just like in the Zojoji Temple, we didn't actually go up to the observation floor of the tower, but we just wanted to see this place before we left Japan. Here I'm adding in the places we went to so far, the Zojoji Temple and the Tokyo Tower. Also, our quick stop by at Starbucks. To top it all off, I'm just adding in this picture of the Tokyo Tower from a magazine. So next on the list was to go to a place we've already been to before, which is Harajuku. Now, the reason we're going there is that I wanted to buy stickers from that really hip and cool store that we went to on the first day called B-Side Label, and the nearest branch was in, you guessed it, Harajuku. So, since no one had other places in mind, we were making a detour back to that region. So while we get there, enjoy! we are back in Harajuku, but this time we are going in the opposite direction from the first time we walked these streets, towards the direction of the Tokyo Plaza. So in a weird way, this is kind of like a trip down memory lane. And here we are at the B-side label. And apart from the stickers that I bought as souvenirs to friends, I also got these for myself. One of which is already being used on my laptop. Back on my journal, I decided to add the envelopes in which the stickers came in because I thought the effort we went through was worth remembering in the future. Plus, the packaging was really cute. After we bought the stickers, we were heading to the Line Friends store to check out their new collection with BTS, since my sister and my cousin are huge K-pop fans. And on our way there, we saw some very familiar places that we've been to on our second day adventure. Personally, I'm not really into K-pop or toys and plushies for that matter, so I ended up just chilling and not getting anything for myself. But my cousin definitely got herself a little something that I actually don't remember what it was. And now that we got everything off our list and we didn't really have anywhere else to go, we decided to stop at the Starbucks on the last floor of the Tokyo Plaza to enjoy the view with a nice cup of coffee. It was also around this time that the gloomy skies were opening up just in time for a beautiful sunset, which I couldn't miss the chance to get it on video. And just like that, with our stomachs full of coffee and with our eyes tired of seeing the same view, we were finally leaving the Tokyo Plaza for the last time. And on my journal, I'm just adding in that we went to Harajuku with the main purpose of visiting the B-side label. And since the Shibuya crossing was so nearby, we were set to go there one last time, taking once more the scenic route there to appreciate the changes happening in the sky from day to night. But then suddenly, amidst our walk,
Ué. Estranho. Não sei onde está vindo isso. Ok, então, né? A gente sai correndo.
If you didn't notice, a fire truck passed by and it kind of freaked me out.
Oh, sorry.
But anyways, by this point, we had practically reached the Shibuya region and we were hoping to check the different places we had missed the last time we were here. As for me, I was in a pretty goofy mood and just trying to soak everything that I could from these last few hours in the city. Woo!
Huge baby.
Then, after a lot of walking, we finally stopped at this huge department store for some last-minute goodies like souvenirs and skincare products. We spent almost an hour inside, but once we were out, we were now heading towards Genki Sushi, the restaurant we went to for lunch on our first day. We decided to go there since we knew this place was both a fast and affordable option.
Hi, doggy. Shigenchi.
And plus, a major factor was that it was just a few blocks away.
Vamos para o Genki Sushi.
Here on my journal, I'm just writing down where we had our last dinner in Japan. After finishing up our dinners, we were now leaving, heading towards the subway station near the Shibuya crossing. But before we left, we knew that our families were watching the Shibuya crossing through the live security cameras on YouTube, so I wanted to stand out so they could see us crossing the street from home. Since this was such a big moment for me personally, I decided to include it in my journal. And just like that, in a blink of an eye, we were leaving behind our Tokyo adventures and heading towards our hotel in Ueno. While we get there, here in my journal, I'm just adding in this last detail, which is the picture I took in front of the Tokyo Tower and the Zojoji Temple. By this point, I was bittersweet that our time in Tokyo was almost over, but it wasn't all that bad because next, we were heading to Seoul in Korea. And still, I was pretty happy I had the opportunity to visit Japan in the first place and that I had such a great time here. Finally, this is when we had a ride back to our hotel room, and if you're wondering, this is how day 6's journal entry, our last day in Tokyo, turned out in the end. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much if you watched this series all the way through, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye!